Welcome back to Awesome Possum Hobbies and Games. I am Chris, and I'm back with another Duskmourn opening. This one is, of course, a Duskmourn Collector's Booster box. An entire booster box of collector boosters. Oh my, these are expensive as heck. So, will I break even? Of course, that's the title of this video. Will I break even with Commander packs? I don't know. So, let's find out together. Spread the box. Open her up. Of course, the boxes themselves are kind of the texture foil material, but they're a little thicker than a standard cardboard or standard cards, and each one has 15 cards, and each of the packs are a total of 12 packs, so not a ton, not a lot of chances to be able to break even or not. So let's go ahead and zoom in here and go through each of these packs. Man, there's not a lot of value in this set yet. I'm hoping to get some of those special dual lands. So first card is, of course, the token, Glimmer / Spirit token. And then let's go through the actual pack. I'm not going to stop on the commons and uncommons. I'm just going to stop on the rares and mythics and borderless cards, anything of significant value. The reason why is because even with only 12 packs, these do take a while because of the number of rares in each pack. Of course, the borderless foil full art lands. This one's a swamp. The artwork's interesting for this set. And the first rare is Nashi, Searcher in the Dark, for a blue and a black for a 2/2 legendary creature, Rat Ninja Wizard. Has menace, and when this card deals combat damage to a player, you may mill that many cards. You may put any number of legendary and or enchantment cards from among them in your hand. If you put no cards in your hand this way, put a +1/+1 counter on Nashi. That's a little extra draw. Winter, Cynical Opportunist, for a black, a green, 2 generic for a 2/5 legendary creature human warlock. Has death touch, and whenever it attacks, you get to mill 3 cards. Delirium, at the beginning of your end step, you may exile any number of cards from your graveyard with 4 or more card types from among them. If you do, put a permanent card from among them onto the battlefield with a finality counter on it. That's from the Commander set. Fear of Missing Out, Showcase, for a red and 1 generic. It's a 2/3 enchantment creature nightmare. When Fear of Missing Out enters, discard a card, then draw a card. Delirium, whenever Fear of Missing Out attacks for the first time each turn, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, untap target creature. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Not bad for only 2 mana. Next one is a borderless non-foil Flood Farm Verge. It's a land. It's one of the new dual lands. It taps reduce a white, and also taps reduce blue. Activate only if you control a plains or an island. And for the foil borderless card is Enduring Curiosity. For 2 blue, 2 generic for a 4/3 enchantment creature, Hat Glimmer. Has flash, and whenever you control a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card. And whenever this card dies, if it was a creature returned to the battlefield under its owner's control, it's an enchantment. Nice. Nice little, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but man, that top edge is just, it's all nasty. The way Wizards have been cutting their cards lately, it's not great. Their quality control is not the best. You know, they're producing millions and millions and millions of cards, but they're still sending out stuff that's, look at that. That one's a Gremlin / Kato Bane of Nightmares token. Of course, I will stop only on the rares or mythics if any other cards that are worthwhile. Exercise the Demons. Full border or full art forest art. Man, I don't know if I like these or not. Could just be the theme. Nico Nico, Light of Hope for a white, blue, and 2 generic for a 3/4 legendary creature, human wizard. When it enters, create 2 shard tokens. The enchantments with pay 2 mana, 2 generic mana. Sacrifice this enchantment, scry 1, then draw a card. Then you can pay 2 and tap, exile target non-legendary creature you control. Shards you control become copies of it until the beginning of your next turn. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Soaring Lightbringer for a white and 4 generic for a 4/5 enchantment creature. Bird Glimmer has flying. Other enchantment creatures you control have flying. And whenever you attack a player, create a 1/1 white Glimmer enchantment creature token that's tapped and attacking that player. Peer Past the Veil for a red, a green, and 2 generic. For an instant, discard your hand, then draw X cards, where X is the number of card types among cards in your graveyard. Enduring Vitality. 2 green, 1 generic for a 3/3 enchantment creature, Elk Glimmer. Creature you control have tapped to add 1 mana of any color, and then when this card dies, if it was a creature returned to its battlefield under its owner's control, it's an enchantment, not a creature. Next card is Victor Valgaras Sanchez, and it's a white, a black, and 1 generic for a 3/3 legendary creature, human warlock. Has Eerie whenever an enchantment you control enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, surveil 2. If it's the first time, this ability is resolved this turn. If it's the second time, each opponent discards a card. If it's the third time, put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. On to pack number 3. Has a beast / manifest reminder token. And going on with the pack. There's the Mountain. Dissection Tools, 5 generic mana for an artifact equipment. When Dissection Tools enters, manifest Dread, and then attach Dissection Tools to that creature. Equip creature gets +2/+2 and has Death Touch and Lifelink. To equip, you have to sacrifice a creature. I like that card. Curator Beastie for 2 green, 4 generic mana for a 6/6 creature beast. Has reach. Colorless creatures you control enter with 2 additional +1/+1 counters on them. And then whenever this card enters or attacks, you have to manifest Dread. Nice. Next card is the showcase version of Ghost Vacuum for 1 generic mana. It's an artifact. You tap it, exile target card from a graveyard. You pay 6 generic mana and tap, sacrifice this card. Put each creature card exile with Ghost Vacuum onto the battlefield under your control with a flying counter on it. Each of them is a 1/1 spirit in addition to its other types. Activate only as a sorcery. Enduring Curiosity. We've already seen this one. This is the non-full version. And Winter. Misanthropic Guide for a black, a red, and 1 green and 1 generic for a 3/4 legendary creature, human warlock. Has ward of 2 generic mana. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws 2 cards. Delirium. As long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, each opponent's maximum hand size is equal to 7 minus the number of those card types. Wow. Interesting. I don't think it's worth that much, but whatever. On to the next pack. This is pack number 4. Beautiful treasure / toy token. The side is commons and uncommons. Mountain again. Swarm Weaver for a black, green, and 2 generic for 2/3 legendary artifact creature Scarecrow. When this card enters, create 2 1/1 black and green insect creature tokens with flying. Delirium, as long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, insects and spiders you control get +1/+1 and have Death Touch. Demonic Covenant. 2 black, 4 generic for a kindred enchantment demon. Whenever 1 or more demons you control attack a player, you draw a card and lose 1 life. At the beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 black demon creature token with flying, then mill 2 cards. If the 2 cards that share all their card types were milled this way, sacrifice Demonic Covenant. Another Winter Misanthropic Guide. Oops. Card got some of the way. Wood's Shrieker, 2 green, 1 generic for a 3/3 creature beast mutant. Whenever this card attacks, manifest Dread. For a green and 1 generic, reveal target face down permanent. If it's a creature card, you may turn it face up. That's a way of changing the cost. And then the foil, it is a showcase for a white and 1 generic for a Reluctant Role Model. It's a 2/2 creature human survival. At the beginning of your second main phase, if this card is tapped, put a flying, lifelink, or +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever this card or another creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, put those counters on up to 1 target creature. On to the next pack. Pack number 5. Horror/Glimmer token. And the pack itself. We'll stop on the rares. Let me zoom in a little closer. The island. Actually, I like the islands for some reason. You know, everyone's got different tastes. I like the island. Ghost Vacuum. We've seen that one. This one's just a foil version of it. Lethal Arsonist for a red and 2 generic. For a 1/2 creature human wizard. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, this card deals damage equal to its power to that player. Undying. Marvin, Murderous Mimic. For 2 generic mana for a 2/2 legendary artifact creature toy. Marvin, Murderous Mimic has all activated abilities of creatures you control that don't have the same name as this creature. This card's already doing well for Commander. Silent Hell Creeper for a blue and 1 generic for 1/1 enchantment creature horror. Silent Hell Creeper can't be blocked, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on this card. Draw a card, or Silent Hell Creeper becomes a copy of another target creature you control. And the last card is Maddening Hex. This is actually a special guest card. 2 red, 1 generic for an enchantment or a curse enchant player. Whenever enchant player casts a non-creature spell, roll a d6. Maddening Hex deals damage to that player equal to the result. Then attach Maddening Hex to another one of your opponent's chosen at random. On to the next pack. This is pack number 6. We're at the end of this pack. We'll be halfway through the entire box. Treasure/Spirit token. And going on to lots of rooms. I'm a big fan of the room cards. Being able to have multiple modes on enchantments. That's kind of interesting. And of course, Swamp. Enduring Vitality, which we've seen already. The Master of Keys. This is a borderless non-foil version for a white, a blue, and a black, and X generic mana. It's a 3/3 legendary enchantment creature horror. Has flying, and when it enters, put X +1/+1 counters on it and mill twice X cards. Each enchantment card in your graveyard has Escape. The Escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost, plus 3 other cards from your graveyard. Chainsaw. Chainsaw really, I don't know. Should there be chainsaws in Magic the Gathering? It doesn't feel like it's really a magical card. A magical chainsaw? No, whatever. A red 1 generic artifact equipment. When it enters, it deals 3 damage to up to 1 target creature, and whenever 1 or more creatures die, put a rev counter on Chainsaw. Equipped creature gets +X+0, where X is the number of rev counters on Chainsaw. It has an equip cost of 3. Actually, I'm a fan of this card, not because it's called Chainsaw, but because of the actual abilities. You know, being able to have an artifact come into play, do 3 damage, and then it has an ability. It sits around until you're able to equip it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Next card is it's a enchantment room, Dazzling Theater prop room. This one's a borderless version. Dazzling Theater for a white and 3 generic. Creature spells you cost convoke. Prop room for a white and 2 generic. Untap each creature you control during each other player's untap step. Next one is the borderless version of the Wandering Rescuer for 2 white, 3 generic for a 3/4 legendary creature. Human Samurai Noble has flash and convoke. Double strike. Other type creatures you control have hexproof. Man, there's a lot of words on that card. Does a lot. And for a 3/4 double strike, and it has flash. It's pretty cool. I'm a fan. For 5 costs though, will it see play? Pack number 7. Gremlin / Spirit token. So far, nothing super interesting. But that's, you know, my point of view. If you see something cool, point it out in the comments down below. Plains. Plains is interesting. The Mine Skinner. I am a fan of this card. I think it's kind of cool. So for 3 blue mana, it's a 10/1 legendary enchantment creature, Nightmare. This card can't be blocked. So man, they gotta do that 1 damage. And if a source you control would deal damage to an opponent, prevent that damage, and each opponent mills that many cards. So it's converting damage into milling. Yes, you have to mill a lot more cards, but this is a 10/1 that can't be blocked. If it hits someone 6 times, that's 60 cards. Hit someone, by the time you're able to cast it, you only have to hit someone 5 times in order to get rid of them. Not too bad. Of course, it's going to draw a lot of attention. Next card. Disorienting Choice for a green and 3 generic. It's a sorcery. For each opponent, choose up to 1 target artifact or enchantment that player controls. For each permanent chosen this way, its controller may exile it. Then, if 1 or more of the chosen permanents are still on the battlefield, you search your library for that many land cards, put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Interesting. Balustrade Worm for 2 green, 3 generic for 5/5 creature worm. This spell can't be countered. Has trample and haste, and delirium of 2 green, 2 generic for return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Activate only if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard and only as a sorcery. The Roller Coaster Ride for a red and 2 generic and X more generic legendary enchantment. Delirium. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a permanent or a player while there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, it deals double damage instead. When this card enters, it deals X damage to up to each of X target creatures. Man, that's a word salad. Lots going on there. Comes into play. And if you have Delirium, it's going to do all your stuff would deal double non-combat damage, if it's non-combat, of course. And then, of course, it is a fireball. Expensive fireball, but it's a fireball and it sticks around. It's interesting. Next card is a Japanese showcase. It is the Overlord of the Flood Pits for 2 blue, 3 generic for 5/3 enchantment creature avatar horror. Impeding 4, so to impede it, it costs 2 blue, 1 generic for has flying, and then whenever Overlord of the Flood Pits enters or attacks, draw 2 cards, and then discard a card. Interesting. Are you guys a fan of Japanese variants inside regular packs? I'm not a fan of foreign language cards in general, but they are pretty. They are very pretty. On to the next pack. We are on to pack number 8. Shard/Treasure Token. If you guys like this kind of content, please remember to like and subscribe. It really affects things on my side when people subscribe. Next card is Dazzling Theater/Prop Room, which we've already read. It's a full variant. Metamorphosis Fanatic. This is an interesting little card from the Commander set. It is the borderless version, or extended version of, it costs 2 black, 4 generic for a 4/4 creature human cleric. Has Miracle of a black and 1 generic, so if it's the first card you've drawn each turn, you can just pay the Miracle cost. And then, when it Metamorphosis Fanatic enters, return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a lifelink counter on it. Nice. Leyline of the Void. 2 black, 2 generic for a enchantment. If Leyline of Void is in your opening hand, you may begin with the game with it on the battlefield. If a card would be put in your opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile it. Nice sideboard card. Undead Sprinter. For a black, a red, it's a 2/2 creature zombie, trample haste, and you may cast Undead Sprinter from your graveyard if a non-zombie creature died this turn. If you do, Undead Sprinter enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. I like cards that keep coming back. And Fear of Missing Out. Fear of Missing Out is 1 red, 1 generic for a 2/3. We've already read this card, so we'll go on to another pack. Manifest/Demon Token. The pack itself. Murder. So it's not worth much. On to the rares and mythics. What are they? Island. Kona. Rescue Beastie for a green 3 generic for a 4/3 legendary creature beast survival. At the beginning of your second main phase, if Kona Rescue Beastie is tapped, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Great way of cheating things to play, but this guy, of course, has to stay on the battlefield in order to work. Next pack, Star Athlete. Star Athlete is 2 green, 1 generic for a 3/2 menace. That has a creature human warrior, and whenever it attacks, choose up to 1 target non-land permanent. Its controller may sacrifice it. If they don't, Star Athlete deals 5 damage to that player and has blitz of 3, blitz of cost of 3 generic and 1 red that allows it to attack, and then it has to be sacrificed at the end of turn. When it hits the graveyard, you get to draw a card. The Wandering Rescuer. Again, we've already seen that one. Zimone, All Questioning. For a blue, a green, and 1 generic for a 1/1 legendary creature human wizard. At the beginning of your end step, if a land entered the battlefield under your control, this turn you and you control a prime number of lands, create Primo, the Invisible, a legendary 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, and then put that many +1/+1 counters on it. So a 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29, and 31 are all prime numbers. If you have more than that, you're playing with a lot of lands in your deck. Next card is Razorkin Needlehead. For 2 red mana, it's a 2/2 creature human assassin, and this card has first strike during your turn. Whenever an opponent draws a card, this card deals 1 damage to them. Nice. 3 packs left. Manifest slash Primo the Indivisible. Of course, Joey Moss, one of Joey Moss's favorite cards, Terramorphic Expanse. Zimone All Questioning for a blue, a green, and one generic for 1/1. We've already seen this card as the borderless version. This is the actual foil version. Then Kiani, Corrupted Memory for a green, a blue, and 2 generic for a 2/2 legendary creature illusion. As long as a power is even, you may cast non-creature spells as though they had flash. As long as this card's power is odd, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Marina Vendel's Grimoire for a blue and 5 generic legendary artifact. When it enters, if you cast it, draw 5 cards. You have no maximum hand size, and you don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. Whenever you gain life, you draw that many cards. When you lose life, discard that many cards. Then if you have no cards in hand, you lose the game. Next card is a nice little enchantment room. The 2 rooms are Walk-In Closet and Forgotten Cellar. Walk-In Closet is a green and 2 generic. You may play lands from your graveyard. Forgotten Cellar, 2 green, 3 generic for whenever you unlock this door, you may cast turn, exile it instead. Next one is Come Back Wrong. Big fan of this card. For a black and 2 generic, it's a sorcery. Destroy a target creature. If a creature card is put into a graveyard this way, return to the battlefield under your control. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. It will be great for causing a little extra disruption against an opponent playing Commander, because if you target someone's Commander, this one makes it so it doesn't go back to their command area right away. Of course, it will die at the beginning of your next end step. 2 packs left. This one is a 2/2 spider token along with an insect with flying token. Onto the actual pack. Let's get a little more. Forest. Interesting forest. Unstoppable Slasher. This card is great. For a black and 2 generic for a 2/3 creature zombie assassin. It has Death Touch. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, they lose half their life rounded up. If it dies, if it had no counters on it, return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with 2 stun counters. So it's going to keep coming back, and after 2 turns, it's going to untap and be able to start attacking again. Great card. Seance Board. Seance Board is great for a specific kind of commander deck. This is an actual commander card. This is a borderless version. Costs 2 generic mana. Artifact. Morbid of any one color, where X is the number of soul counters on Seance Board. Spend this mana only to cast instant, sorcery, demon, and spirit spells. Nice little flavor there. Overlord of the Bell Merc. 2 black, 3 generic for a 5/5 enchantment creature avatar horror. Impeding of 5, so after 5 turns, for a black and only 1 generic. And then when it enters or attacks, mill 4 cards, and then you may return a non-avatar creature card or a planeswalker card from a graveyard to your hand. Leyline of Transformation. Leyline of Transformation, borderless version. 2 blue, 2 generic for an enchantment. If it's in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. As it enters, choose a creature type. You choose a creature chosen type in addition to other types. This is true for all creature cards and spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. Overlord of Mistmoors. 2 white, 5 generic for a 6/6 enchantment creature avatar horror. Has impeding of 4 for 2 white, 4 generic. or 2 white, 2 generic. And whenever this card enters or attacks, create 2 2/1 white insect creature tokens with flying. On to the last pack. So far, so good. Hopefully the tally will make up the difference in the cost of my box, which I bought on sale early. Everywhere token land and a copy token. And the pack itself. Swamp, and then here's the rares. First one is a room, Charred Foyer, Warped Space. Charred Foyer is a red and 3 generic enchantment room. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Warped Space for 2 red, 4 generic. Once during each of your turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost of a spell that you cast from exile. I have a deck that goes straight into. I can't wait to play it. Persistent Constrictor. 4 black and 4 generic. It's a 5/3 creature zombie snake. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, they lose a life, and you put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature they control. And it has Persist. My Traxa deck loves it. A good pack so far. Rona, Rescue Beastie, which we've already seen before in the regular border. On to the next card. This is a double color room. So it's both the Roaring Furnace for a red and 1 generic. When you unlock this door, this room deals damage equal to the number of cards in your hand to target creature an opponent controls. And Steaming Sauna, 2 blue, 3 generic for you have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of your end step, you get to draw a card. Deck that goes into also. And another Marina Benrell's Grimoire. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope my total here is greater than 190 because I was able to pre-order this at a fantastic price. We'll see, we'll see. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and remember to keep it rolling. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take the time to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to stay updated. Have a great day and keep them rolling.